Welcome to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. I'm forgetting what week it is. We've been here, about 5 or 6 weeks?
Seems like it, yeah.
But welcome here. We're at Culver's here in downtown Navarre. This is Irish Bill with
Seminole Bob.
And we're here to talk a little high school sports, a little college football, and hopefully you'll be able to sit here and join us. My good friend Joe Settle is probably out there getting ready to log on. Joe, we're up and running. Thank you for checking in every Wednesday evening. And thank you to Honey and Randy Smith for allowing us to come into their establishment each and every Wednesday night during high school football season. And we had a lot of football. But we missed some football last week too, Bob.
Oh, yeah, we did. We did. I want to introduce, this is Irish Bill, clean-shaven Irish Bill.
I can't remember the last time that I did something like this and actually shaved it off with just down to the mustache. But this is me. I am the same Irish Bill.
Right. What do they say, No Shave November, something for prostate cancer or something?
Yeah, I can't do that. I got to shave every once in a while.
Yeah.
But we're here, and you're out there, and we're glad that you're out there. And we got a lot to talk about tonight. We've already recapped the Choctaw game, which was 2 weeks ago, right? Tomorrow night would be 2 weeks.
Correct, yeah.
And we talked about the Niceville game coming up this past Friday. Well, that didn't happen.
Right.
Fortunately, we're able to get back on the field. We were going to get on the field tomorrow night. We're going to get a visit from Clearwater Academy International out of Clearwater, Florida. That fell through at the last minute. And now we got the first of our two Alabama teams that we're going to play for the very first time.
Yep, definitely.
Andalusia coming to town Friday night. The Bulldogs on a 4-game winning streak. Shut out their last 3 opponents. Riding high, getting ready for the playoffs in Alabama. They're a Class 5A team in Region 1
Right.
of Alabama. And they're in that same area with Enterprise, who we'll see next Friday night. Mm-hmm. And some really good teams come out of that area. And we'll get to see them, the Bulldogs, come into town this Friday night for the very first time. Head coach Trent Taylor is their head coach, and they got some good talent mixed in with a lot of young talent. They have 7 freshmen on their team. Some of them get some playing time as well. But should be a great game coming up Friday night.
Yeah, good test for Navarre. It's just one of those things you practice, and it's almost like, right as we got permission to start practicing, after the COVID situation, or not after, but when teams started practicing, you're hitting against your own folks, and you want to start hitting against the opposition. So this will be, a welcome senior night for, I think, band and ROTC.
ROTC and the band.
Proud to, and we will have that on tape.
Just like we did with the football players and the cheerleaders and the mascots and the managers. We will do that prior to the game. So our pregame will be of the band and the junior ROTC. Need to recognize them as well as a part of the Navarre family, and I think it's important that we do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're part of the Navarre team, so to speak. They provide excitement, ROTC, with presentation of colors, all the push-ups they do.
Wow.
We want them to do lots of push-ups.
We want them to, especially after our previous game where we put up 50. And that's 7 touchdowns and a safety. And, wow, it was a long night for the ROTC. I'm sure they slept pretty well Friday night. Thursday night.
It was Thursday.
I haven't seen the weather report for Friday to see whether we're going to be up on the roof or we're going to be inside. But we'll unless Bob can pull it up here, we'll give you a little weather report for Friday night. While he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and go over the scores from last Friday. Actually, Thursday, Friday, and we had a Monday game this past week again.
Yep.
Milton in a great game over Crestview on Friday night, 31-27. Washington, they did play back-to-back weeks, Washington and Pine Forest.
Weird. I saw that, and I go,
home and home. So Washington won this Friday night, 23-7. I watched that game at home. Escambia 55, Tate 14. Escambia really starting to get on a roll. And I believe that is 14 straight regular season games that they've won. Mosley 44, Gulf Breeze 7, West Florida 28, Choctaw hanging tough at 21, Catholic 14 as they shut out the Pensacola Tigers and your wife's alma mater.
Yep.
Arnold 28, Bozeman 14, Northview hung a 70 spot on Coach Phil Tiza.
Golly.
But South Walton put up 49, and we're going to talk a little bit about those stats from that game a little bit later. Bay 36, a tough loss as they score in the final minute of the game to knock off Bluntstown 36-33. Mariana 41, Rutherford 20. Can't figure out this Mariana team.
Up and down.
Freeport 34, Jay 23. Jay blows a big lead in that one, and Freeport comes back and pulls it out in overtime, 34-33. Chipley wins again, 16-14 over Holmes County. Sneeds 35, St. John Paul II 12. Graceville over Cottondale. They get their first win on the season, 26-24. Monroe Day 56, Rocky Bayou 19. And then they had to turn around and play Baker on Monday night.
Saw that, yeah.
You got a 6-0, 5-0 Monroe Day team on Friday night and a 5-0 Baker team on Monday night. And we'll tell you that score here in just a little bit. Childs 21, North Florida Christian 13, Lincoln 33-7 over Leon. Florida High 40-0 over FAMU. Big game coming up this weekend over there in Tallahassee between Florida High and Godby this Friday night.
Yep.
McClay 38, Lafayette. They stayed home. I guess this was not their night. We thought Lafayette would take that one. McClay said, not tonight, 38-14. Sewanee 21-0 over Wakulla. What a year so far for Sewanee, 5-2 on the season. And that was a big win over the War Eagles.
Yeah.
Madison County goes on and beats Class 6A Auburndale 22-6. It doesn't matter what class Madison County plays. They beat them. Bronson, he showed up over Franklin County 38-27. Asala Christian 40, Fullerton 20. Liberty County, which I drove through as I got off on exit 174, drove south to Greensboro, and right at the end of the street is Liberty County High School.
Right. Yep.
I drove right by that, and 4 miles down the road is Bluntstown. So I got to see both of those schools this weekend. Keystone Heights 41, Jefferson County 7. Lighthouse gets their first victory of the season over St. Joseph's of Alabama at 16-8. And on Monday night, Baker 47 and Rocky Bayou 20.
So Rocky Bayou gave up 100 points in 72 hours.
And they gave up over 500 yards rushing in that game as well. 284 to Joe Brunson and almost another 200 to their sophomore running back as well. So now we're going to move on over. Let's get right to it. Yes, Bob won again. Second week in a row, high school. This week was a little bit closer. I went 14-9. You went 15-8. And on the season, you have narrowed it to one game. I'm 66-26, and you're 65-27.
Yeah, but you're kicking my tail in college football.
I got about a 6-game lead in college.
You do. You
Sitting
sure
pretty
do.
good. But this week starts the SSAC tournament for Class 1A, and we got our first game is we're going to go with number 8 Graceville 1-5 at number 1 Baker, and I'm going with the Gators in this one.
It'll be over by the end of the first quarter.
So Bob going with Baker. Number 7 seed Holmes County, they're 3-4 at number 2 Port St. Joe, who hasn't played in about 3 weeks.
I know.
And but I don't think that's going to be a problem for the Tiger Sharks.
Going with the Tiger Sharks.
Number 6 Jefferson County 0-5 at number 3 Bluntstown 2-3. I think Bluntstown in a blowout in this one.
Yep.
And then we got probably the best match of the weekend in this SSAC. Number 5 Weewaw 5-1 at number 4 Sneeds 4-1. The Gators are rolling right now. not the Florida Gators because they got COVID issues. But I'm going to go with the Weewa Gators.
I am too.
Good choice. Sneeds is the Pirates are playing well, and that's where the team that Colin Bestor is following now, as they're living over in that area now with his new bride, as he got married this past weekend.
Yep.
Congratulations to Colin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now let's go over to our Thursday night games. Well, this is actually ours is switched to Friday, so we'll take that one after we take the Florida High 5-0 at Rickards 2-0.
Wow.
Great matchup here.
They have a lot of good matchups too. FAMU and Leon as well. I'm going to go with Florida High.
I'm going to go right there with you. I think this is Florida High's year. Possibly win it all. They go to the state championship last year, get beat in the finals. Then we flip over to the Friday night. Andalusia coming to Navarre, 5-3 Andalusia at 3-0 in Navarre. I'm just anxious for them to get back on the field.
I am too. They'll have some starters out. Navarre finds a way to win.
I'm going to go with the Raiders as well. And let's go Pensacola High at Washington. I think this one's not even going to be close.
Washington,
we're right on track here so far, Bob. We're all together. Catholic 2-2 at Niceville. I think we'll stay together here.
Yep.
Niceville and
have they played a road game anytime lately? Holy cow! They seem to.
I don't know if they have played a road game or not.
I don't think
think they have. Because the one game they were. No. The beginning of the year that they lost, they were going to start the year on the road, but they lost that game to Hurricane Sally. Mm-hmm. So now they haven't been away from home, which is not unusual for Niceville. They play a lot of games at home. We're going to go with the Eagles in that one. Now Godby in Lincoln, another great matchup coming up.
I'm going to go with the Cougs, man.
You're going with the Cougs. I'm going with the Trojans. So there's our first different one. Crestview 1-3, a great performance last week against Milton, and I think they will handle pace on the road.
I agree.
Then we have Pine Forest, who played really well 2 weeks ago, then laid an egg last week, and they're going to Escambia, probably one of the second best teams in the top 3 or 4 teams in the area.
Go with the Gators.
Going with the Gators as well of Escambia High. This should be a good game coming up. Mosley 3-2 at Milton 4-0. We saw what Niceville did to Mosley.
I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to go with the Panthers at home.
You're going to go with the Panthers at home? I am as well. Coach Lees has got those young men playing over there. And Buchanan at quarterback and their receiving core they've been outstanding here early on. And I think they'll keep it going alive and open up with a 5-game winning streak. Tate 1-3 at West Florida, 2-1. Tate really struggling this year. I'm going to go with West Florida at home.
Yep.
St. John Paul II, 3-2 at Childs, 1-2. Childs 7A, St. John Paul II at 2A. I think the bigger school is going to win this one.
Yeah. And I think John Paul's now lost. That would be 3 losses in a row.
Next, we have Choctaw 0-5, Gulf Breeze 0-4. So something's got to give in this game. One of these teams is going to get their first victory, and I'm going to go with the Indians on the road.
And if Gulf Breeze plays Choctaw like they played us,
they'll have a chance.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Gulf Breeze at home.
Bob going with the home team. Next, we have FAMU at Leon, another mismatch of 2A and 7A. I'm going to go with Leon to get their first win.
I agree.
Gadsden County playing really well, 1-1 at Arnold, 2-2. I think Gadsden County just has too much in this game for Arnold.
They're playing at the
Abyss.
The Abyss
in Panama City Beach. You going to go with the Marlins?
I'm going to go with Gaston County.
I knew you would. Bay 2-2 at Bozeman 1-3, and Bozeman beat Bay last year, so Bay's kind of on a resurgence, a revenge season as they took out Bluntstown earlier, which Bluntstown beat them last year, and now they're going to seek revenge on Bozeman, and I think they will get to victory this Friday.
I'll go with the Tornadoes.
South Walton 2-4, a lot of offense, sort of like a Big 12 game here.
Yeah.
A lot of offense out of South Walton, but not much defense.
Or a Pac-12 game.
Yep.
Oh, man.
I just don't – I know Walton has a great quarterback and Kemper Hodges and great receivers with Cade Roberts and the tight end Pierce Sperlin, but they just cannot
stop anybody.
I'm going to go with Rutherford at home.
I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
Bob going with the Seahawks on the road. McClay 3-3 at Mariana 4-3.
Jeez.
Seems like every time I pick Mariana, they lose. And it's sort of like me picking the Bears. Every time I pick against them, they always win.
Yeah.
Every time I pick them to win, they always lose.
I'm going to go with the home team, Mariana.
Me as well. Northview 3-1, playing really well right now. Going on the road in the battle against Jay. It's a rivalry game.
Right.
And I'm going to go with the Chiefs because they're just playing.
I am too. I think it's going to be Jay's been playing better. But I think it'll be close, but I think Northview will win.
Next, we move on over to Freeport with their big come-from-behind weekend last week as they go to Cottondale, and I think it'll be enough to take out Cottondale.
I think the Bulldogs will win there.
Franklin County 0-3 at Liberty County 1-4. They are part of that SSAC, but they are the bottom teams. So they are not part of the top 8
right.
that play for the – I am going to go with Liberty County at home.
Yes.
Walton 1-4 at Chipley. Tigers riding high this year.
Go with Chipley. Playing better as of late.
Madison County at Taylor County. I don't think this is going to be much of a game. I think Madison County is destined to head to that state championship game in 1A again.
Yep.
I thought you were going to pull a not so fast
no,
one, Fred.
Not against the Cowboys.
Next we have Bronson, 5-2 at Monroe, 6-0. Monroe playing really well. Bronson had a big win last week, but it's hard to go against Monroe at 6-0.
Robert F. Monroe.
Next we have Lighthouse PCA at Young Kids in Motion.
Are they related to New Kids on the Block?
They might be. So they might be a little older. No. I'm going to go with Lighthouse PCA in this one.
I do too.
So we got a couple different there. There's your high school picks.
Tell us about your trip to Bluntstown.
To Bluntstown,
I'm
okay.
Curious. So you went to the North Carolina-Florida State game at Doak Campbell.
Yes, I did. Got up early. I slept like a baby because we walked a mile and a half from Brady's apartment to the stadium, then a mile and a half back. And my lower back and knees were just killing me. So I slept like a baby on Brady's couch and got up about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Just took my time coming home. Got off on exit 174, headed south down to Greensboro. Not Greensboro, North Carolina, but Greensboro, Florida, home of where Liberty County is at. Mm-hmm. Took a right, went into Bloodstown for the first time ever. First time I had ever been down Highway 20 that far.
Right.
I'd been to Freeport before, so I stopped in Bloodstown to check in with our good friend, the Southern Gentleman Sports Show, Coach Bo Johnson. Sat at the stadium for a little while, took some pictures, hoping to meet up with Coach Bo. Unfortunately, we could not connect, but I took a couple videos, and you can see one of them on my Facebook page and my group page, Irish Bills Twist on Sports. But a little quaint community. You can still see the remnants of Hurricane Michael. There are still some buildings that have seen some better days.
Right.
As Tennessee Shanky would say, he loves to repeat my commercial. They've seen some much better days.
So much
but
better days.
but so I was getting ready to head out of town. Never fails. 15 minutes down the road, I get a text from Coach Bo. Did we miss up here? And I said, yeah, unfortunately, I got to get on the road. I got to get on back. It was a long weekend already, and so wasn't able to pick up my laundry detergent that was our fundraiser this year. So I guess we'll have to meet up again sometime. So I just stayed on Highway 20, which I've never done before, and it was nice going through all those small towns here in the Panhandle of Florida, and seeing these communities that now you know where a lot of these smaller schools where they're from, and it was really cool to just take my time going down Highway 20 into Niceville and through Freeport, and just had a great weekend.
There in between Bluntstown and what's that other town on Bristol?
Bristol, yes.
Bristol. There used to be a convenience store called Hoggly Woggly.
Hoggly Woggly.
They sold the best fried chicken and potato logs. What's that commercial? It'll make you slap your Jay always says on.
Yeah.
Make you slap on the table, and man, they closed down, unfortunately. But I know a few friends that bought Hoggly Woggly T-shirts, so that was our stop. We'd go 20 to Doak Campbell.
It's a great drive. It actually saved you about 15, 20 miles, but it takes you about the same amount of time. But I had a great time, and one thing I always like about going through small communities and you stop at the convenience, people the smaller towns, they go at their own speed, and that's what kind of I miss growing up, because I'm not from a very big town in Indiana, but a little over 9,000 people, which is good size compared to some of the smaller towns we have here in the Panhandle. But it's always nice to it's like, this is Sunday. We relax. We take in,
go to church,
what we love,
have a big lunch, spend time with family. That bridge that connects Bluntstown, that used to be one way each way. And, man, it would scare the snot out of me.
When I came up upon it, I was like, whoa, this is a different type of bridge. And that was my first time crossing, because usually you cross that on I-10, that river.
Right.
It was the
dam.
Yeah. And so usually you cross it there, and when I was down there, it's like, this is kind of strange. And but it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
I enjoy just taking in the sights by myself, and seeing where the people that we talk about every Wednesday night, what their life is in their small communities.
Yeah. And you got to spend great time with your son.
Most definitely.
At a football game.
At a football game.
When was the last time the two of you went to a game together?
Oh, gosh. I think it was his freshman or sophomore year in high school. The Bears were playing in Jacksonville, and we went over. A good friend of ours, Jack Herman, they had a hotel, so we spent the night there. But Brady had to get to school Monday morning, so we were up early, and to take that trek back from Jacksonville to Navarre just in time so he could get to his first class. So I would say it's probably been 6 or 7 years since we've been together for a game. The only 2 games we had been at before were Bears games in Jacksonville, but he was much younger the first time that we went over there. But it was great to be with him, and Octavian Moyer and his new wife went with us to the game as well, and we had a great time.
You could actually have a conversation at a football game.
We did.
Because of the reduced – it looked like it was like –
it was a good crowd.
40%.
I would probably say 15 to 20,000 maybe.
Okay, yeah, about 40%.
And we had a great time. You could basically sit wherever you wanted to sit,
right?
As long as you were wearing your mask. It didn't have to be over your mouth and nose, but it had to be on your face. Mm-hmm. So, but we had a great time.
That's good. That's
But
good.
we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break of the night as we've gone a little longer here in this first segment. The Irish Bill with Seminole Bob on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports from Culver's. And we will be back after this commercial break and a word from our sponsors.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track. Well, they're seeing to it that they are properly fed, have good transportation, are making sure that all Raider fans can hear all the exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com. Navarre Raider Sports is brought to you by Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate, your local real estate connection. With Ursula, you got a positive, helpful partner for buying or selling a home. Ursula can help with all of your real estate needs. Whether in the Florida Panhandle or around the world, her 16 years experience in real estate will work for you with innovative marketing strategies. Thinking about selling your home? Call Ursula for a free marketing analysis to see if you qualify for one of the incentive programs. Call or text 850-642-5711. Email ursula.householder@floridamoves.com or go to householderhomes.com. Go Raiders! Your fans are all behind you at the field or while you're watching at home.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Welcome back to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports here on this 21st day of October. Doesn't seem possible, does it?
It doesn't. I've got my Halloween mask on now.
I saw that. Doesn't look much different.
Yeah.
Well, now we're going to go back to the show. We're going to do our class rankings here. We're just going to go over the 1A teams and the 1 through 8 teams, the number one team in each class. And then if we have a local team, we'll talk a little bit about them. In Class 8A, Seminole Sanford stays on top at 5-0. Down in 7A, St. Thomas Aquinas remains on top after they win their first game. Niceville moves up a spot from number 7 to number 6, and they're actually ranked number 127 in the country now. What a great year so far for the Eagles in Niceville. Mm-hmm. Navarre staying in there at around number 14. Down in 6A, you got Miami Central getting ready to play their first game against Miami Northwestern. So you have the number one in 6A playing the number one of 5A to start their season this Friday night.
Crazy.
And then Scambia comes in at number 6 in Class 6A. Over in 4A, Bowles at number 1. And at 3A, Florida High stays in at the number 2 spot. Chaminade Madonna number 1 in Class 2A. Champagnat Catholic at number 1 for the second straight week. In Class 1A, Madison County, followed by Vernon and Baker and Weewag, getting a few mentions there as well. So
at Miami, Palmetto, 2 in Class 8A. Then you have 2 other Miami teams ranked number 1. Nothing unusual there.
not at all. And Chaminade Madonna, I believe, is in the Fort Lauderdale
area.
Miami area there. I mean, you got a lot of great football down south. And I was looking at some of these teams in 6A, and I was just thinking, well, Fort Walton Beach, they've already made the playoffs because every team's making the playoffs this year. They have to play Lee out of Jacksonville. And right now, Lee's number 3 in Class 6A, and they're playing a tough team this weekend, Trinity Christian, the number 3 team in Class 3A with one of the all-time winningest coaches, but DeVornay over there. I believe that's his last name. Coach, he's been there a long, 40-plus years.
Oof.
And but there's your classifications this week. Thanks to Josh Wilson of FloridaHighSchoolFootball.com for putting those all together each and every week and allowing us to just kind of piggyback on them. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to move over to our Irish Bills Super 7 Panhandle Power Rankings, large schools and small schools, and our offensive and defensive players of the week. Niceville, Escambia, Navarre, Milton stay on top. West Florida moves up to 5. Mosley at 6. Washington comes back in at number 7. That's the large schools. In the small schools, Baker 1, Vernon 2, Catholic stays at number 3. Weewaw 4, Port St. Joe 5. Northview on the heels of Port St. Joe, playing rather well here early on, and Sneed's in at number 7. Our players of the week. I could have gone a couple different routes this week with a couple of performances that were out there. But our offensive player comes from Northview. Running back Jaden Jackson rushed for 485 yards on 38 carries and 8 touchdowns in a 70-49 win over South Walton. And our defensive player, now is this not a linebacker's name? His first name is Tracker.
Yes.
Tracker Thomaston from Freeport, 22 tackles,
Jeez.
9 solo, 13 assists, 4 tackles for loss, and a caused fumble, and a 34-33 win over Jay.
That's kind of Grady Kelly-esque.
Yeah, so congratulations to Jaden Jackson from Northview and Tracker Thomaston from Freeport. We had some great performances. We'll go over just a few of them. South Walton's Kemper Hodges, 26 of 43, 423 yards, 5 touchdowns. And he also carried for 99 yards and 2 more scores in that Northview game. Escambia's Rennie Prim, a transfer from Pine Forest, doing well over there. Tyler Buchanan, what a season he's having for Milton, 210 yards passing, 2 more scores. But the receivers, you have to go no further than South Walton. 3 of my 4 receivers we're going to talk about are all from South Walton. Cade Roberts, 12 receptions, 170 yards and a score. Dalton Romano, 2 receptions, just 2. For 107 yards and 2 scores. And Pierce Spurlin, sophomore tight end, 6 receptions for 87 yards and a commit to the Georgia Bulldogs. The defense, we got a lot, but let's get to the running backs a little bit more. Baker's Joe Brunson, 284 yards on 20 carries, 2 scores. His running mate Caleb Wagner, only a sophomore, had 8 carries for 194 yards and 4 scores. West Florida's Jaheim Simmons with 155 yards on 14 carries. There was a few other Freeport players that I don't know how they got all these tackles in one game. Devin Cosson with 17 tackles. Kyle Armour with 16. Milton's Trevor Lunsford and Chase Morgan with 13 each. And our kickers and punters, Milton's Casey Paget for 4 on extra points, and he hit his only field goal from 40 yards. Their punter, Comantre Current, 3 punts. He averaged 45.7 on his 3 punts. Gulf Breeze's Dixon Peak, 4 punts. He averaged over 40. And Washington getting his varsity debut on his freshman, I love it, Ricky Bucko. 2 for 3 on extra points and made his only field goal from 23 yards. But there's your Super 7, Niceville, Escambia, Navarre, Milton, West Florida, Mosley, and Washington. In the large schools, Small schools, Baker, Vernon, Catholic, Weewaw, Port St. Joe, Northview, and Sneeds. And our players of the week, Jaden Jackson from Northview and Tracker Thomaston. That's hard to say if you say it real fast with 22 tackles. That's a lot of tackles.
Yeah.
Those are our players of the week. And now it's time to switch our hats on to the college side of things, which
The Big Ten starts up. Good to see.
We actually tied last week, Bob,
Did we really?
at 13-7. Not that that's much to brag about. That's only 65%
Right.
straight up. But now we have some Big Ten games this
Right.
week. Friday night, Wisconsin looking for a little revenge as Illinois comes to Wisconsin.
Yep.
Madison this weekend. And I'm taking the Badgers in this one.
On Wisconsin. Got to go with the Badgers.
And if I didn't, I would have heck to pay when I got home.
And you're picking against an Illinois team.
Yeah. Well, I'm Indiana, so I don't really care much about Illinois.
Well, you support
other
the Bears.
than the Bears and the Blackhawks and the White Sox.
There you go.
And number 23, Louisiana at UAB, a 3-1 each team. Louisiana's had 4 tight games. The Blazers are really tough at home. I'm going with the Blazers at home.
I'm going to go with Louisiana.
Next move over to Saturday. We got Notre Dame.
Who?
How they won last week, I don't know. But they won, so it's a W is a W at the end of the day. They don't ask you what color W it is. It's 4-0, but they go to a tough place they always have a tough time with, and that's Pitt, 3-3.
What happened last week?
Well, people say, Bill, you're just going to make an excuse. No. One thing, they had 25-mile-an-hour winds, so that affected the play calling. Well,
Passing game, yeah.
Tommy Reese, the former Notre Dame quarterback, who's now the offensive coordinator at 27 years old.
At Notre Dame?
At Notre Dame.
Wow.
I thought the play calling was less than average. And they had chances to put points on the board, and they go with fake field goals. And, on days like that, when you see that there's not going to be a whole lot of scoring, you put up as many points on the board as you can. And I just thought the play calling was a little less than average.
After a pretty good week against Florida State in the second half.
And we see that Florida State is playing much better now. So that wins a bigger win for Notre Dame after what Florida State did last week to North Carolina.
Seems like it.
But I'm going with the Irish on the road.
I can't go against the Irish. I think it's going to be a great football game to watch. One of those things, slobber knocker, probably.
And here's the mismatch of the week. Syracuse 1-4. They are 46-point underdogs to Clemson.
And they lost to Liberty last week.
And they lost by 17 to Liberty last week at home.
What's the coach's name for Liberty?
Hugh Freeze.
Hugh Freeze. He was mentioned. Keep an eye on that Auburn job.
Yeah, because I was listening on the way home to I talk SEC and Gus. Everybody's saying, well, that Gus bus, the tires are on fire and the engine's about ready to go. So
I've never heard that.
So the Gus bus is losing a lot of
steam.
Right now. But I'm going with Clemson and all this. And I'm sure
Absolutely.
you will as well. Yeah. Number 1 at Alabama after
Number 1
a
Alabama?
Number 2.
2. I think
2
it's
Alabama.
reversed.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got those mixed around between Clemson.
Yeah.
But they played at a number 1 performance last week against Georgia.
I agree.
Alabama 4-0 at Tennessee, 2-2, with a really hard to think about loss to Kentucky at home, 34-7 at home.
Was Tennessee looking ahead, or was
Possibly.
Kentucky? And is Alabama due for a letdown?
Not this week.
Don't think so, huh?
No.
Coach Saban stays perfect against his former coaches.
That he does.
Roll Tide.
You're not going to give me. And after what happened, let's talk a little bit about what came out at LSU today. I mean, have you heard?
Yeah.
self-identifying, but we kind of saw this coming, especially with what happened after the championship game with
Odell Beckham
Odell,
Jr.,
who's been banned now for 2 years. I think that's a little long, but it is what it is. But that's
what they said.
That's not what it's going to get him the most trouble is what else has been reported today.
Payments.
Reported, allegations only, not proven yet.
As Jim Rome would say, allegedly.
Allegedly. So
I think South Carolina goes in and
playing well right now.
They are.
And LSU is going to get Muschamped at home. And their second loss at home. You're going to go with
LSU starting possibly a new quarterback. We don't
freshman,
know how long.
True freshman.
Yeah, I'm going with Carolina in a field goal game.
Okay, now we switch over to FSU, playing much better. They've seen much better days. And they're going to Louisville, which struggled last week to put any points on the board and got blown out against Miami the week before. I'm going with FSU on the road.
11 a.m. kick. I guess that would be our time. I'll go with the Noles. Close game, I think. Was Louisville's offense lacking, or was Notre Dame's defense and the elements also a factor?
Good combination. Good question.
Yeah.
Next, we move over to Miami, and I think they'll have a field day with Virginia.
Go with the Canes.
Then we have the battle in North Carolina. NC State, 4-1 on the year, 4 straight wins, going to number 8 UNC. Tough loss last week for the Tar Heels, but I think they'll rebound at home against NC State.
And a former Seminole will be quarterback for NC State, Brady Hockman.
Well, kind of almost 2 Florida State quarterbacks because Howell was visiting.
Committed. Yep, sure
he was committed to Florida State, so you actually got 2 former FSU quarterbacks, even though one never stepped on the field for Florida State.
Tell me, I'm going to go with North Carolina. Tell me about the game. You were there at Florida State, North Carolina, and we were texting back and forth about Carter, about Michael. Was it the Florida State defense, or was it the play calling of North Carolina put it in to too much expectation, or they
well, honestly,
kind of showed their hand that they were going to go with Carter?
If you want my honest opinion, I think North Carolina went in there thinking that they were going to have a cakewalk, and Florida State's defense came to play. Yes, they still got to get rid of those. They do a lot of dumb penalties at Florida State.
They do.
But it's a great 1-2 punch with Williams and Carter back there.
Yep.
Williams just kind of had the better night of the two, and he's a little bit bigger back. He's about 20 pounds heavier than Michael, and he's a little bit thicker, and so they needed more of that. The way that the Florida State defense was playing up front.
The last pass that Williams dropped, I think it was tipped, perhaps. Florida State was lucky to win that football game. There was a lot of penalties that they could have called on Florida State, a pass interference late in the game. But Williams dropped that, which probably would have put him within field goal range for sure. But, But I'll pick North Carolina this week.
Next, we have number 19 Virginia Tech going to Wake Forest. I'm going with the Hokies on the road.
I'm going to ride them. They're playing well right now.
They're going to do the hokey pokey on Wake Forest. I know that was bad.
Oh, God. Bill.
Penn State at Indiana. I think this is going to be I've been talking about this game on our Saturday morning show for a long time. And people say, Bill, Indiana doesn't have a chance. Indiana is much improved after their 8-4 season from past year where they got knocked off by Tennessee in their bowl game. And Penn State, 2 of their top players aren't going to be there.
That chose not to play because of COVID.
Right. And then one kind of, I think, is in trouble. so he's not making the trip. So Indiana, much improved team under Tom Allen, looking for high expectations this year. I am going to go with my Hoosiers in the upset at home.
I'm going to follow you on that. I was thinking the same thing.
You're going to follow me down the back roads of Indiana?
Back roads to Indiana, where my dad's from.
Nebraska at Ohio State. I don't think this one's going to be even close.
No, our favorite deacon at St. Sylvester's, Deacon Charlie, is a big Nebraska fan.
I'm sorry, Charlie.
Yeah. Farmer, retired. Oh, man, you're on a roll. Like Butta, he's on a roll. Deacon Charlie's a retired farmer from Nebraska. And, yeah, the Buckeyes.
Next, we're going to move on over to Auburn and at Ole Miss. Auburn's struggling. And Ole Miss have some great offensive performances, just haven't found it on defense yet. But I think Auburn's going to go on the road and lose at Ole Miss. Sorry, Nick.
I'm going to go with Ole Miss.
So Auburn not playing well right now. West Virginia 3-1, off to a good start here at Texas Tech. Early game.
Two Navarre Raiders
playing
against
George Jefferson from West Virginia and Tommy Leggett is a senior at Texas Tech, and Jordan's a sophomore at West Virginia. I'm going with West Virginia on the road.
I'm going to pick Texas Tech.
Tough place to play at home.
Yep.
Number 24, Iowa State, 3-1 at number 10, Oklahoma State, who some think may be the Big 12 champion this year. Do you see it?
I'm a man.
I'm 40. He's over 50 now, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm 50.
I mean, their running back is probably going to get an invite to New York for the Heisman.
Is it
for
Chuba?
Oklahoma State? Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys at home in a closed one.
I'm going to go with Iowa State.
I'm going with the Cyclones. We're out of Cyclone season.
Ugliest uniforms in America.
Yeah, they're not good. Number 11, Cincinnati at number 18, SMU. A battle on undefeated teams here. Bearcats and the Mustangs. I'm going to go with the Bearcats on the road.
Yes, I'm going to go with the Cats.
Oklahoma coming off their win, off week last week, but a win over Texas in the Red River shootout, as I call. Everybody wants to call it rivalry. It is a rivalry, but it is the shootout.
I'm glad they still play that game. I wish Texas and Texas A&M would still play. I'm going to go with the Sooners on the road. TCU.
Well, I'm going to make my pick sooner than later. So,
look, I just had a chicken basket here at Culver's, and I know you're going to get a fish sandwich maybe.
Always.
Don't make me lose it.
Okay.
Sooners
in this one.
Sooners.
Baylor 1-1 at Texas 2-2. Not impressed with Texas.
I don't know. Tom Herman is he worn out of his welcome?
I think he's getting close. Everybody says that this year in the COVID year that coaches are going to have a grace period.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think you're going to find, honestly, if Gus doesn't get back on his winning ways here soon enough, I think you may find him out before the season's over with. Because you know who's lingering out there? Liberty. Give me liberty or give me death. But
I thought you were going to say Alabama. If Gus doesn't beat Ole Miss this week, it could be this week. They'll find the money for the buyout.
And Tom Herman is following that same path right now.
Yeah, Texas, please.
I'll take Texas as well. Michigan at Minnesota, and Saturday night. And you know what happened in Minneapolis today? 6.9 inches of snow. Minnesota plays in an outdoor stadium.
Wow.
Yes, no fans, but you're going to have.
That's where game day is going, isn't it?
I don't know. They better take their snow boots and their
woolies.
snowmobile outfits. And they better get out the old guy remember the old guy at the New England game years ago
Yes.
that they brought
Yes.
from the sideline just to
They can kick a
remove
field
snow
goal.
from one area. They need to call him back for this weekend.
Oh.
And I'm going with Minnesota at home. Michigan hasn't decided on a quarterback yet, and I can't go with a team that has not solidified that position of quarterback. And Minnesota's got a good one coming back.
I'm going to go with Big Blue on the road.
Oh, you're going to go
I'm going
just
to
the
go
opposite.
with Michigan.
Okay, let's move on over to Provo, Utah, where Texas State, who was last week in Mobile playing South Alabama,
Right.
now they go on to Provo, Utah to take on number 15 BYU is 5-0.
BYU, they're
Coug-
quietly.
As David said, Cougs, man.
They're Cougs, man.
Different Cougs. This game we were going to call, but we can't because the New Mexico governor will not let them leave the state of New Mexico. So Colorado State and New Mexico will not be played this week. And our own Dante Wright was going to get his 2020 campaign underway. And now last week, a great effort by Houston last week against BYU, but they fall short and they're going to Navy and playing midshipmen. And I'm going to go with the midshipmen in this one.
My son-in-law will disown me. I think
You going with the
They are
Cougs?
playing.
Another Cougs.
Another Cougs. I'll go with the Cougars. You know, Mrs. Wright, just think about it. 'Cause initially the game was Thursday.
Yeah.
Right? And she may have changed her I don't know when they called it. When did they call this?
They called it, I believe they called it late yesterday afternoon or early this morning.
She was talking to her travel agent because cancel a flight to Colorado. When
She
are we-
hasn't missed a game yet. And she's not going to.
Oh, I'm sure she's.
She's like me with Brady.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
But all of her trips require a plane ticket.
yeah, absolutely.
But last week, Bob and I went 13-7. Yeah, that was not a good week. And I have a 5-game lead in college picks.
How many different did we have this week?
Well, let's see. Let's count them up here real quick. Don't you love on-air production? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that a sign?
I could be even, or I could be down by 10.
Or you could be over with.
Yeah.
But the big ones that we lost last week, both of us lost to Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, Auburn, Memphis, and UCF. The UCF kicker kind of had a meltdown last week, didn't he?
At his own player.
Yeah. And then the Ole Miss, Arkansas. Arkansas is looking good. They should be 3-1 right now.
They should.
After getting hosed at Auburn. And then we lost. That was all the ones that we lost together. Now it's time to come down. We're just going to be an hour-long show tonight. And then we'll get ready for Friday nights. Back on the air.
Back on
God,
the
it just
air.
seems like
we will not be on the roof because
inclement weather in our forecast.
Let's pray we have a game.
Most definitely.
So, yeah, thunder showers predicted for Friday.
So it'll be interesting that before we get to our former Raiders, where are they now? It'll be interesting to see what we see on Friday night as far as Navarre Field and what they're putting out on the field. We have 8 starters that will still be out from last week from the Niceville game. I think Fort Walton Beach had as many issues, if not more, than a lot of the schools around here. So they wouldn't have been playing this week anyways.
Right.
So Navarre was going to have to find an opponent either way.
Or not play.
Or not play at all, which would have took them down to 5 games on the season. And I think Coach Walls at this point just wants to get some consistency coming into this end of the season. Picking up Andalusia Friday night. As Enterprise coming into town next Friday night. 2 teams that Navarre has never played before in the history of their program. And then they'll finish up on the road, the regular season on the road at Crestview. And Crestview starting to play well now. So these are going to be 3 good tests to help prepare the Raiders heading into the playoffs.
Absolutely. Yep. Sure is.
So let's move on over to Irish Bills. Navarre Raiders, where are they now? Let's talk about those that unfortunately are not playing this fall. Jordan Leggett, soon to be father, coming up here in the next few months.
Not a priest father, but a dad.
A dad.
Daddy. Yeah.
He's a free agent. Bo Herring up at Maryville, not playing because of COVID. Then our 5 guys up there at Navarre North at Huntington College. Mark Struck, Daryl Hickson, Garrett Schluter, Kyle Hickman, and Tyler England. And Charleston Southern's wide receiver Quinn Caballero, and Harding's defensive lineman Mitchell Hunt. And also not playing this year is James Segrest. He transferred to University of Louisiana, where his dad's a coordinator there. He is a preferred walk-on, so not eligible to play this year. But Texas Tech, Red Raider Tommy Leggett, what a season he's had. They're 1-3, but Tommy's had 26 tackles in his 4 games. They will be hosting West Virginia, as we already talked about, 4:30 kickoff on Saturday afternoon. Probably have to tape that one.
Yeah.
Then we had running back Michael Carter playing for North Carolina. They're 3-1 in conference play, 3-1 overall. He had 17 carries for 67 yards and 2 receptions for 5 yards and a 31-28 loss to Florida State. Next, they'll be hosting North Carolina State at noon kickoff Eastern time, so that'll be 11 o'clock our time. On the season, Michael, 57 carries, 480 yards, on track for another 1,000-yard season. He has 2 touchdowns, 10 receptions, and 86 yards. Auburn's offensive lineman Nick Brahms, he's a redshirt junior for the War Eagles. They're 2-2 on this season. He started in a 30-22 loss to South Carolina this past week. They'll be at Ole Miss for 11 a.m. kickoff. And then we have Ava. He hasn't played in a while either. They've been off for about a month. Ava Maria, University offensive lineman Lamarcus Smith. They're 2-1 on the season, 1-0 in conference play. And their next game won't be until Halloween. Halloween night, 7 p.m. They'll play St. Thomas. West Virginia defensive lineman Jordan Jefferson, a sophomore. He did not play in a 38-17 win over Kansas last weekend. They'll be at Texas Tech Saturday, a 4:30 kickoff, and no stats on the season for Jordan. And South Alabama linebacker Josh. This was a trip. I didn't know if I told you about this. Tony Carter and his wife Rachel went to Josh's game in Mobile earlier on Saturday. I don't know if they left at halftime or towards the end of the game, but they drove down I-10 to catch Michael's game Saturday night.
Wow.
So they caught South Alabama's win over Texas State, then got on the road and drove to Tallahassee to watch Michael play at night.
Jeez, that's dedication.
Coach Walls was there as well.
At South Alabama or
No,
at Tallahassee?
In Tallahassee.
Yeah, he's a Seminole fan.
He is.
Yep.
Because he graduated from Rutherford High School, and his first head coaching job was at Sewanee.
Yep. Sewanee playing pretty good high school football right now.
Yeah, 5-2, having a great year. Shut out Wakulla. When I saw that score, I was like, Wakulla never gets shut out.
Right.
And that must have been a heck of a defensive effort by Sewanee. There's also another alum of Navarre, Tammy Peanut Norton, graduated from Sewanee High School.
She did.
Did
Happy
you know
birthday.
that?
I think her birthday was
This week as well. Or within the last week or
it
two.
was the night we had senior night with Alyssa.
Okay.
Yep.
But she is a Sewanee High grad. And you never know what you're going to learn here on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. And they'll be hosting ULM this week, this 6 o'clock Saturday night. No stats on the season for Josh. And Dante will have to wait another week as New Mexico will not come calling on Saturday night. And we'll see what their schedule is going to be. So,
during Hurricane Sally, Missouri was supposed to play, was it LSU in Louisiana?
Yes.
And they moved it to Missouri.
Correct.
For the hurricane. I wonder if there was any discussion on Colorado State to move the game to New Mexico just to get the game in.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or if they won't let them play at all right now.
Oh,
That's what
I
I'm.
see.
In New Mexico, they got a new coach down there now, trying to turn things around down there, and hopefully they will, because that New Mexico has been down for quite a while. Pac-12 Dave always gets their names mixed up between the two.
Lobos, yeah.
The Lobos and the.
New Mexico
Put it out
State, not Wildcats. New Mexico State Wolfpack. I bet you it's the Wolfpack.
I bet you're incorrect. But New Mexico State is. Let's see, another on-air production here. They're down in Las Cruces, which I've been through once in my lifetime. They're trying to figure out here. I know we should know this off the top of our heads, being sports guys.
I'm sure some of our military folks know because.
And I thought this was right, but I didn't want to be wrong on the air. They're the Aggies. New Mexico State, the Aggies. New Mexico, the Lobos. Those are your two D1 football schools in the state of New Mexico.
This has been a moving experience.
Very.
For me. So,
Let
Navarre.
me ag you along.
Get along, little doggy. I think what Jay Walls would want to come out of this game healthy. Get your reps in. Start peaking. At the right time. You got homecoming coming up.
Next Friday?
Yeah, lots of distractions. Everybody's dressing up in the hallways and all that. But develop some consistency and continuity. The run game, we'll see. We'll see who's going to play. Now the baby Raiders, I assume, played this week.
The freshmen are playing this week. The JV were supposed to play Gulf Breeze, but that was originally scheduled for Thursday. But with the change in games for the Raiders, they had to take on another opponent. So I believe only the freshmen are playing this week.
Which could benefit Navarre.
Both teams, I still believe, are unbeaten. I believe the freshmen are 4-0, and I believe the JV are 4-0 as well.
Well, it'll help Navarre because they're the JV players. If we have injuries or COVID issues,
great point, Bob.
Could come up.
And no six-quarter rule with now playing. They can play the whole game on Friday.
Preston Penton going to be back?
I believe because he was his 2 weeks, so he should be back on Friday night.
Okay.
So we'll have the kicking game going, the kicker and punter, as we were both missed out on over the last game, the Choctaw game. But I'm sure he'll be back, and his brother Hayden, a freshman, he's the freshman kicker.
Okay.
A little bit different statures. Hayden's a little bit bigger than Preston. Still learning the game, but we'll have another Penton to look at kicking balls for Navarre.
What are your feelings about playing at Andalusia? In the old days, you wouldn't have the tape delivered fast enough. The old reel-to-reel tapes. Now,
back in your days.
Yeah, that's true. Back when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Now, you and I could pull up on the internet, as I did today during lunch.
Watch a little bit of the Andalusia Bulldogs.
Mm-hmm. Sure did. Red and white. Like you said.
They're actually
are they?
Cardinal. I think it's Cardinal and white.
Yeah, there's the difference.
It's just a little bit different shade.
Yeah.
And then next week we get I believe the Wildcats of Enterprise.
Yeah. We're not playing Alamo. We're not playing National Real Car Rental. We're playing Enterprise. Yeah. What are your feelings about the game with short notice and all?
I think that he just wants to get out on the field, no matter who they're playing. If it was Niceville this week, I think he would have had those guys out there ready to go.
Yeah.
He just wants to they want to get out on the field and get some consistency, as I mentioned a little bit ago. They want to get some consistency heading towards the end of the season and make sure that hopefully we do have a playoffs here in the state of Florida. And just get on the field, no matter who your opponent is.
My daughters, Anne-Marie cannot do the film. Initially she could.
Ammo
is going to be back in the pool. She's doing backstroke. She's been cleared.
How's the shoulder doing?
Going to have an MRI Monday. But she's been cleared by the doctor to, instead of butterfly, she's doing backstroke in district.
Not as hard on the on the shoulders.
And for her, it's her first experience at district. Now, do they go to Pensacola for district? No. Do they go to Tallahassee for district?
No.
They go to, I think it's either
Ponte Vedra.
Yeah, either Ponte Vedra or Ormond Beach. They're going to swim at a YMCA.
So you're looking at about 6 hour drive.
They're leaving on a charter at 3 a.m. So if we'd have had the game Thursday, it'd have been a little.
She would have been sleeping the whole way there.
Well, she still may, but that's just the craziness of COVID, where your district, some teams are swimming, some teams are not. Your district goes from Pensacola in the classification. I think they go 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A in swimming to Ponte Vedra. Really?
Yeah, Ponte Vedra. I made that trip
Crazy.
years ago when I got into broadcasting with Panhandle Sports Broadcasting, just a trip down memory lane for me. Pace was playing Ponte Vedra in Nice in the state playoffs, and they had two corners, safeties that played for Nice. You remember Bill Bates that used to play for the Cowboys? His twins played for Nice at that time. And that was the same school where Tim Tebow went to.
Right.
He played.
Right.
Well, he didn't go there. He was homeschooled.
Right.
But that's where he played football at.
Right.
So we made that trip down there broadcasting. And we went about 10 or 12 of us in an RV going down to I-10. And then, but who did they ask to do most of the driving since I wasn't broadcasting? I was just doing stats for them that night. So I had to do a lot of the driving. And so we went over there, and Pace lost on a missed extra point in the fourth quarter, 49-48. And we had to make that trip all the way back the same night. Everybody else was sleeping. They put Irish Bill driving the bus. So I'm going 35 miles an hour down I-10 in an RV. And it took us like 7.5. Well, it should have been like a 6 hour drive. It took us like 7.5, 8 hours to get back. And
so
that was a long memorable. But that was one trip for me in my early broadcasting days.
You didn't do the Randy Quaid like in
Didn't Christ, but I tell you, I was really tired. That was a long day.
Yes. Well, so it's going to be a long day for those swimmers, and they're going to turn around and come back.
Well, I'm going to do a little
Same
trivia
day.
for you. I know neither one of us could get the Aggies, but see if you can get me their mascot name. I'll give you a hint.
For who?
For the Aggies.
Okay.
New Mexico State Aggies. Their mascot's name is named after a famous basketball player from the state of Louisiana.
Pistol Pete.
Yep. Was that too
Pete.
good of a hint?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I wanted to make it easy. It's at the end of the show. But we want to thank you once again from Culver's here in Navarre, Randy and Honey Smith, the owners here. Also in Fort Walton Beach, their new store. So if you're in Fort Walton, stop on down there, their new location. Go to the drive-thru. And then also out in Destin on Highway 98. Randy and Honey Smith, great people here in Navarre, getting this one up and running about 6 years now, I believe.
Yeah.
And we've been to here the last 4. And we thank them every Wednesday night. And hopefully you enjoyed the show tonight. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I got the chicken basket, man.
And I'm hungry.
Yeah, it's good. I
had chicken for lunch, so no chicken for me.
I may get some custard to go, though.
Now you're talking. Mm-hmm. I may have to get some custard to go myself. Until next Wednesday night, actually Friday night, probably inside Friday night,
Yeah.
weather permitting.
Yeah.
And we'll be back on the air Friday night as the Raiders host the Bulldogs of Andalusia High from Alabama as they come down a bunch of back roads to get to here, and we're gonna have football Friday night at
Audio
7:30.
and video.
Audio and video.
Yep.
And we'll have senior night for the band and the Navarre Raider Junior ROTC, and we'll run that prior to the kickoff, and you'll get to enjoy that. Tune on whenever you want. We'll probably get on about 6:45 if they start like they did the last time.
Right.
And then we'll let that run, and then we'll have the Navarre Raiders hosting Andalusia on Friday night. Until Friday night, may the wind ever be at your back. This is Irish Bill signing off.
Good night, Navarre.